So if your videos aren't getting at least a few hundred views, I would bet that you're doing at least 3 of the things I'm about to show you here in this video. And every single one is making YouTube work against you, and you don't even know it's happening. But by the end of this video, you will. And I'm not going to waste time talking about hashtags or how to get your channel deleted. You can go Google that. What I am going to show you are 7 things that keep small channels small. I'm talking about the real ones, the ones that nobody talks about because they're harder to fix than a setting in your YouTube studio. Now, for context, I spent 8 years on YouTube making all of these mistakes myself before I figured it out. But since then, I've built 2 channels to more than 360,000 subscribers, more than 23 million organic long-form views, and more than $4 million in revenue using YouTube as a tool and not waiting for YouTube to start sending me AdSense checks. Now, over the years, I've coached hundreds of creators through this process, and I already know that some of you might get a little defensive hearing this because you're about to realize how much time you've wasted on stuff that was never going to work in the first place. But before we jump into that, I need to share a stat that should bother the majority of you. 83-point-something% of everybody who ever uploads to YouTube as a creator will never hit 27 videos. Not because they don't have a good camera or they're not talented per se. They just don't have it in them. And they keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. The mistakes I'm about to expose, and nobody tells them. They get discouraged, they get burnt out, and they quit. Oh, and one of the things that I'm going to share later in the video is something that I've never heard a single creator, coach, or guru talk about ever. You might think that I've lost my mind and I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I've seen it happen way too many times across multiple channels to keep it to myself. So let's get into it. All right, so if your last 5 videos are about 5 different topics, your channel isn't focused. It's confused. And so is YouTube. I have a client who came to me convinced that his channel was dialed in. He had sales videos, mindset videos, AI walkthroughs, build-outs, Google Ads tutorials, freelancing tips, all on one channel. He's like, Adam, it's all business content. And sure, it is. But it's also 5 completely different audiences. And here's the thing, your niche is not defined by what you think the topic is. It's defined by who your viewer is. And if you bounce between topics over and over again, you're training YouTube systems to never have a clue who your stuff is for, who to show your stuff to. It's like you open up a barbecue restaurant, and then it's slow one weekend, so you switch over to sushi the next week. And then people come in looking for barbecue. It's like, this is what's going on here. And then by the next week, you are an ice cream shop. You never built regulars because you never gave them the opportunity to become regulars. And nobody knows what you are at that point, including yourself. You're going 2 miles wide and 2 inches deep rather than needing to go 2 miles deep and 2 inches wide. So pick the thing that your audience actually needs from you and then go so deep that nobody else can touch you. And quick side note, if you're doing YouTube on one channel and you just want to do whatever you think about, you have a lot of hobbies, you have a lot of interests, you have a lot of things to talk about, there's nothing wrong with that. But realize you will never be outside of a hobbyist. If you want to do this seriously and grow a real channel that gives you real results, then you have to get focused. You can have 5 different channels for 5 different focuses, and I know what you're going to say, Adam, that's way too much work. It's the same amount of work. You click, you switch to a different channel, and you upload. It's not rocket science. It's not that much harder. Instead of uploading everything to one, you just click to a different one and upload there. Anyway, once you do have the topic locked in, the next mistake is the one that kills your momentum before it ever gets an opportunity to build. Most small creators don't realize that they have the wrong niche. They fail because they never gave the right one enough time to work. You open that barbecue restaurant, like I said, and then you switch it and you switch it and you switch it. Nobody comes because you never let it take root. You're planting seeds and digging them up before they sprout. YouTube is the long play. That's why you guys that are just obsessed over shorts, I usually don't really understand you because you have to know and understand that it's the long play with long form content. That's what YouTube is. The short form stuff is just a distraction. And I know that it's hard to accept when every other platform like TikTok and Instagram and whatever else is going to come out is training your brain to expect instant results. But most people are genuinely rough for the first few, 10, 15 videos. The question is whether or not you keep improving and you keep running, because like I said, most people quit. Now, there's a great author named Steven Pressfield who wrote a book called Turning Pro. I have it right here. And in the book, he talks about how amateurs wait for inspiration and how pros get up and do the work regardless of if they feel that. A pro turns the disappointment towards themselves. What can I do better? Well, an amateur clicks on 16 different algorithm update videos looking for somebody else to tell them that YouTube is broken and YouTube is holding them back. But you need to be honest with yourself. It's you. And I say that because I need somebody to tell me that 10 years ago. But once you accept it, you can actually fix it. Some of you heard that and thought, oh, I am showing up. And maybe you are. But there's a difference between consistency and repetition. Your titles might be the reason that strangers can't find you either, and you wouldn't even know it. Because to you, they all make perfect sense. To you, you like them. I've had 3 clients in the past year alone where I had to sit them down and show them why their titles were invisible to everybody on YouTube. You are not your viewer. You already know you already know your language. You already know your methodology. You know that inside baseball within your niche, right? This is your friends group at this point. And a stranger on YouTube doesn't understand any of it. I call it justitis, and I didn't make that up. I grabbed it from somebody else. Somebody's like, well, I just do that. No, I just do this. I just do that. The world doesn't know that. Only your closest people do. So you need to expand. And if your titles use words that nobody would ever type into a search bar, it's like you've built a cafe or a bakery inside of an office building with no signage on the street, no listing on Google, nothing to find on Yelp. So the people who know you exist are already in that office building. And then you're wondering why you're not getting any foot traffic and you can't grow any sales. Just think about search intent. What are people actually typing into YouTube right now? How do I position my titles so that it meets people where they already are? Too many creators write titles for themselves and just hope YouTube pushes it out to browse and, somehow gets it in front of the right people. That's what I call hope marketing. You just hope it works out, and that's about it. So now if you understand your niche and you have that locked in, you're in a place where you're not panicking about the uploads. Your titles are positioned for actual humans to find it, like we just covered. There's something that creators do in the first 60 seconds of their videos that throws off all the progress, essentially throws the video in the trash, because you have less than 15 seconds to prove to a stranger that your video is worth their time. And most small creators spend like the first minute or two talking about themselves. Now, so many channels that I check out when people are like, Adam, can you just give my channel a once over and tell me what I'm doing wrong, why I'm not getting views? My content is great, but nobody cares. And I'm guilty of this too. You start the video with, hey guys, my name is, so-and-so, and my channel, I cover blah, blah, blah. If you'd please subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and comment and all that good stuff. It really helps the channel. Make sure to, it's just like a minute gone before a single piece of value gets delivered. Your thumbnail and title made a promise. And I know you hear that over and over again, but it's because it's true. The viewer is waiting for you to deliver. And instead, you're giving them a monologue about yourself. You're asking them to do something for you before you've done anything for them. They don't care about you yet. And I'm not trying to be abrasive here. I know I give off big brother vibes. I have 2 little brothers, and I get passionate about this stuff. They'll only care after you earn that. You got to give them something of value first. Your intro needs to come in after the hook, after you've opened up that curiosity loop. It needs to be 7 seconds or less, typically, unless you're like the most charismatic person ever. And while I'm at it, get rid of those like animated logos or the montage intros. Anything that's slowing down the viewer from getting into the actual meat and potatoes of the video, the actual value, is holding you back. Nobody's sitting through that anymore. This isn't 2014. People ask me all the time how long their videos should be, by the way. The short answer, and I say this to if you've ever met me in person and asked me this, I say the same answer every time. Your videos need to be exactly how long they need to be and not a moment longer. Anyway, the next one might feel like a bit of a slap in the face to you guys because a lot of you guys are going to hear this and realize that you've been doing it for months without even knowing that it was a problem. Now, for full transparency, I have filed 6 or 7 copyright claims in the last 3 months alone on creators who copied my videos pretty much word for word. Same examples, same lived experience that I'm actually sharing my personal stories, and they're just like copying and pasting it into a teleprompter. And the part that's crazy about it is when you go look at their channels. And side note, if you ever find anyone who's blatantly copied my videos, shoot me a DM, email me. I genuinely appreciate it. That's usually how I find these things. The ones that copy my videos are usually their best performing content on their channel. And that brings up the fact that I've built a framework that works insanely well. 16 years on this platform, and I've been obsessing over retention. I've been obsessing over human psychology. So when you copy the structure, some of that carries over. I give you that. But those creators copied everything word for word without understanding why it works. You could copy the skeleton of a video, but you need to understand why it opens the way it does, why the segments are structured the way they are, the pacing, the psychology behind the transitions. That's the difference between like tracing an animation and learning how to draw yourself. What works for my audience might not work the same apples to apples for your audience. My viewers are business owners, coaches, creatives, business-minded creatives, I should say. service providers, consultants who treat YouTube like a revenue engine. They're not trying to get Mr. Beast famous. Your audience might be, I don't know, hobbyist gamers, and my format might not work as well for you. But you won't know that because you never stop to ask why it works for my audience in the first place. So you need to study the creators that you admire. I give you that. Find the outliers, see why they performed. Break down those videos. Learn the principles, not just the surface level stuff. Then build your own thing. Some of you aren't just, copying formats though. You're changing your entire identity every time that something doesn't work. Now, one thing I see time and time again are people posting once a week for like a month. They don't get results. They get super disappointed. They distract themselves with a million other things they could be doing and take 2 months off. Then when they come back, they try to post a bunch of times a week to make up for the break they took. They end up burning out every single time. I see the same patterns. And I shouldn't have to say this, but that's not consistency. That's the pattern keeping you stuck. The first 90% of whatever you do is the same amount of effort as the last 10%. So many people will get started, but they have no follow through. They do not know how to keep going. And even the people that do maintain some semblance of a real schedule make the same mistake differently. They do the same thing every week. They see no results, no improvements, then just keep doing the same thing over and over again. They're like, I'm consistent, but that consistency without improvement is just failed repetition. It's like you're running a super slow mile every single day and wondering why you're never getting faster. You're not training. You're just jogging and feeding your brain for some dopamine with the illusion of progress. Real consistency means that you show up and you're doing the work on the back end. You're reviewing those retention graphs. You're looking at where people drop off. Each video is a small experiment that gets you closer to understanding what your audience actually responds to. 1 week is bare minimum, in my opinion, as far as posting consistency, and you don't need to spend hours every day on this either, but you do need to be intentional and put focus behind it. If you treat YouTube like a sport, you can get paid like an athlete, but only a small percentage, super small percentage of people that play high school sports will ever make it to college. And an even smaller percentage of those people will make it to some sort of professional realm. You need to pay attention to what you're doing is what I'm saying. You need to be borderline obsessed with it, and you need to be more obsessed with the journey and the process than what that one video is going to give you back. It's about the long play and building a catalog. And by the way, if you're serious about this, I'll be hosting a free masterclass in the next few days where I'm going to be taking a deep dive into the complete system that I've used, not only to scale my own 2 successful YouTube channels, but the same system that I use with my 7- and 8-figure entrepreneur clients who pay me $40,000 to help them scale their YouTube channel to drive actual business growth. This is where we have the opportunity to connect with one another outside of YouTube and really deep dive and interact in a way that's not possible with these pre-recorded videos like this. So if you're interested, I'll have a link in the description where you could register, lock in your spot, and it's going to be a good time. You're not going to want to miss it. Now, I need you to hear me out on this one because this is something that I've never heard anyone talk about. Not a single creator or coach, like I said, no guru. And I've been looking because I thought for years that I was going crazy until I started having conversations with my clients, other people that are bigger on YouTube that have now become my peers and my friends. There's something happening on your channel right now that is tanking your public video performance, and you would never think to look at it because I never thought to look at it. If you upload a video as unlisted, and maybe this is a bit of an outlier situation, but follow me. Maybe it's a course walkthrough. Maybe you're sending it to a friend for feedback. Maybe you have a client and you're doing like a Loom video and you want to put it on YouTube just to get it over to them. Maybe you're giving your private community early access to a video before it goes live. That unlisted video sits on your channel collecting views. Then when you upload your next public video, it underperforms. That's the one that gets no impressions. That ends up at 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 and just totally deflates you. You know, YouTube calculates momentum, and we never think of these things, right? How your recent uploads perform affect directly how much push your next video gets. That's why you see it like this. You see a video take off, then the next one gets a little bit more, and if it doesn't pop, it starts sinking down like this. YouTube is always estimating the expected watch time of your next upload based on what just happened on your channel. That's all been documented, and you can look that up. So what happens when an unlisted video with random watch patterns and no engagement because it's a privated video, that signal doesn't match your normal audience. And that's sitting in between public uploads. Now, in my experience, those signals bleed into your momentum. And it's something that you don't think about until it's too late typically. So that's one reason I needed to bring it up here, because will YouTube confirm this? Probably not. And I've watched it happen enough times across enough channels that I don't feel like staying quiet about it anymore. Now, if you've uploaded an unlisted video for any reason outside of being the next one that you're going to be posting, or maybe you have 2 videos that are live or getting ready to go live, but you haven't sent the link to anybody, do it on a separate channel, please. If you're giving like I said, a private community early access, go and host it on Vimeo, put it in a Google Drive. Just keep it off your channel, your main channel, especially that you're trying to grow. And I'd love to hear from you guys on this. This is part telling you, part like wanting confirmation and asking you, am I crazy? Have you experienced this? If you're a business owner, if you have clients of any sort, maybe you run an agency, maybe you're a freelancer, a lot of you guys have uploaded unlisted videos on your channel. So if you've noticed how those public uploads right after that underperform after you've uploaded that unlisted content, let me know in the comments, please. I'd love to talk about that. Now, speaking of that, if you're ready to go all in on your YouTube channel and build something that gives you freedom and fulfillment, watch this video next. If you haven't yet, click that little subscribe button to join the channel family here. Let me know which one of these you're most guilty of, and if there's any I missed, or maybe some that you disagree with. Until then, I appreciate you watching.